The massive Imperial vessel emerged from hyperspace, its dark hull reflecting the distant sunlight as it approached Earth's orbit. Admiral James of the Earth Defense Force watched from the main control room as the ship, nearly twice the size of the largest human space station, positioned itself just beyond the moon. "They're hailing us," reported Captain Mike, his fingers hovering over the communication console. The room fell silent as military leaders and politicians gathered around the main screen. The Imperial delegates appeared on the massive display. Tall, humanoid beings wearing elaborate robes decorated with symbols of power and authority. Their leader, Ambassador Reed, smiled with too many teeth. "People of Earth, we bring greetings from the Galactic Empire, the greatest civilization in known space." Admiral James noticed something odd in the ambassador's tone. Despite the friendly words, there was an underlying current of superiority that made his military instincts tingle with warning. The first meeting was arranged in the newly constructed Global Unity Center in Geneva. Security teams from every major nation worked together, scanning for weapons and monitoring every movement of the Imperial delegation. The ambassador's assistant, Tom, carried a large case containing what they called gifts of goodwill. During the presentation, the Empire showed holographic displays of their 1,000 worlds, their advanced technology, and their peaceful expansion across the galaxy. But Director Linda of Earth Intelligence noticed how they glossed over certain details about their expansion process. "We offer Earth a position within our great empire," Ambassador Reed announced to the Earth Council. "Your world has shown remarkable progress, and we believe you are ready to join the galactic community." Behind the scenes, things moved quickly. The Empire's delegates met with various world leaders, offering technology, resources, and promises of prosperity. But they also dropped subtle hints about the unfortunate accidents that had befallen worlds that had refused their generous offer. The turning point came 3 days into the negotiations. A junior analyst named Robert was reviewing the Imperial delegation's communications when he noticed an encrypted channel. Working through the night with a team of Earth's best hackers, they broke through the encryption. What they found changed everything. The decoded messages revealed the Empire's true intentions. Earth wasn't being invited. It was being assessed for conquest. The gifts contained surveillance devices designed to map Earth's defenses. The Imperial fleet wasn't just a diplomatic mission. It was the first wave of an invasion force waiting in the outer solar system. Admiral James called an emergency meeting with the Earth Council. "They'd done this before," he explained, showing evidence from the decoded messages. "They call it peaceful integration, but it's systematic conquest. They strip planets of resources, reduce populations to slave labor, and move on to the next target." The council chambers erupted in angry discussions. Representatives from every nation argued about how to proceed. The evidence was clear. The Empire had annexed over 30 civilizations in the past decade alone, each time using the same diplomatic approach. Director Linda presented more findings. "Their technology isn't as advanced as they want us to believe. They rely on intimidation and the element of surprise. Most worlds surrender before any real fighting begins." As the meeting continued into the night, a consensus emerged. Earth would not follow the path of those other worlds. Humanity had fought too hard for its freedom to surrender it to alien overlords, no matter how powerful they claimed to be. The next morning, Ambassador Reed returned expecting to begin the integration process. Instead, he found the Earth Council united in defiance. The Imperial delegates were ordered to leave Earth's space immediately. "You don't understand what you're doing," Reed warned, his friendly facade cracking. "The Empire does not take rejection lightly." Admiral James stepped forward. "No, Ambassador, you don't understand. Earth is not some helpless world for you to conquer. We've read your messages. We know your plans. And we're telling you now, Earth is off limits." As the Imperial delegation returned to their ship, emergency protocols were activated worldwide. Military bases went on high alert. Scientists began adapting the decoded Imperial data for Earth's defense. A new chapter in human history had begun, one that would shake the foundations of the Galactic Empire itself. The first battle was yet to come, but humanity had already won its first victory. They had seen through the Empire's deception, and in doing so, had changed the course of galactic history forever. After the Imperial delegation's departure, Earth's intelligence agencies worked around the clock. Teams of analysts, led by Director Linda, dug deeper into the decoded Imperial data. What they found made their blood run cold. The Imperial computer core contained records of hundreds of integrated worlds. Holographic images showed once thriving planets reduced to mining operations. Vast cities transformed into industrial wastelands. Native populations forced to work in massive factories producing weapons and ships for the Empire. "Look at this," Robert said, pointing to his screen. He had discovered files about a planet called Meridia. Before the Empire, it had been a world of floating cities and advanced clean energy. Now it was a polluted shell, its atmosphere thick with industrial smoke, its people working 16-hour shifts in Imperial processing plants. Admiral James reviewed the military data. The Empire's strategy was always the same. First came the friendly diplomatic mission. Then, if a world refused to join willingly, they would face technical difficulties, mysterious failures in their defense systems, communications blackouts, and sudden problems with their power grids. The investigation revealed more disturbing facts. The Empire had planted sleeper agents on Earth during their brief visit. These agents were discovered in key positions, research facilities, military installations, and government offices. Each carried advanced Imperial technology designed to sabotage Earth's defenses when activated. They'd been planning this for years. Captain Mike reported during an emergency session. "We found Imperial probes in the asteroid belt. They've been watching us, studying our weaknesses." Director Linda presented evidence of the Empire's resource-stripping operations. "They don't just take valuable minerals," she explained. "They harvest everything. Water, atmospheric gases, even biological samples. Each conquered world becomes nothing more than a resource depot for their war machine." The Earth Council watched in horror as she showed footage smuggled from Imperial worlds. Massive ships descended into oceans, draining them for hydrogen fuel. Entire forests were uprooted and processed for biological compounds. Native species were collected and experimented on in Imperial laboratories. But among the darkness, they found hope. The Imperial records revealed that their technology, while advanced, relied heavily on brute force rather than innovation. They hadn't developed anything new in centuries. They simply took what they wanted from conquered worlds. "Their shields are powerful," Robert explained to the military command, "but they're predictable. They haven't faced a real challenge in so long, they've stopped improving." Earth's scientists worked frantically to understand and counter Imperial technology. They discovered that much of the Empire's supposed superiority was psychological. They relied on fear and intimidation more than actual military might. A breakthrough came when analyzing the Empire's communication networks. Dr. Allen, a quantum physics researcher, found a fatal flaw in their faster-than-light communications. "They're using an old system," he explained. "We can block their signals by generating specific quantum interference patterns." Meanwhile, Earth's security forces rounded up the last of the Imperial agents. Interrogations revealed that the Empire had seriously underestimated human determination and ingenuity. They had expected Earth to be like every other world, easily frightened into submission. The captured agents also provided crucial information about the Empire's military doctrine. They never expected serious resistance. Their standard response to defiance was overwhelming force, sending massive fleets to intimidate rebels into surrender. "They don't adapt well to surprises," noted Admiral James. "Their tactical responses are outdated. They haven't fought a real war in generations." As Earth prepared its defenses, they discovered something else in the Imperial data: signs of growing unrest throughout the Empire. Many conquered worlds maintained secret resistance movements. Some had developed ways to hide resources and people from Imperial censors. Director Linda saw an opportunity. "We're not alone in this fight," she told the council. "There are billions of beings out there waiting for someone to stand up to the Empire. We could be that someone." The Earth Council made its decision. Not only would they defend their world, but they would also reach out to these resistance movements. Earth would become a beacon of hope for all those suffering under Imperial rule. As they prepared for the inevitable Imperial response, humanity felt something they hadn't expected. Not fear, but determination. The Empire had made a critical mistake. They had threatened a species that had spent its entire history overcoming challenges and defying odds. The next move would be the Empire's, but Earth would be ready. 6 months after uncovering the Empire's true intentions, the Earth Council gathered for its most important session in human history. Representatives from every nation filled the Grand Chamber in Geneva, their faces showing a mix of determination and gravity for what they were about to do. Admiral James stood at the podium, his uniform crisp, his expression stern. "The evidence is clear," he began, gesturing to the holographic displays showing Imperial atrocities. "We cannot allow Earth to become another conquered world. Today, we take our stand." The Council's decision was unanimous. Earth would not only reject the Empire's invitation, they would ban the entire Imperial presence from the solar system. It was an unprecedented move. No world had ever dared to issue such a direct challenge to Imperial authority. Director Linda presented the final draft of what would become known as the Solar Declaration. "From this day forward," she read, "the Empire and all its representatives are forbidden from entering Earth's space. Any Imperial vessel crossing the boundary of the Kuiper Belt will be considered a hostile act." The declaration was broadcast across all known frequencies, including the Imperial communication channels they had decoded. They made sure the message would reach not only the Empire, but also every subjugated world that might be watching. The Empire's response came within hours. Ambassador Reed's face appeared on screens worldwide, his expression a mixture of amusement and contempt. "This is most entertaining," he said, his voice dripping with condescension. "No world has ever dared to ban the Empire. Your primitive civilization clearly doesn't understand its position." But Earth had been busy during those 6 months. While the Empire dismissed their declaration, human scientists and engineers had been working tirelessly. They had adapted Imperial technology, improving it in ways the stagnant Empire had never imagined. Dr. Allen's team had developed a new type of shield system, one that used the Empire's own energy weapons against them. "They've relied on the same basic technology for centuries," he explained to military leaders. "They never thought someone would find a way to reverse their energy patterns." The Earth Defense Force unveiled its first line of advanced chips, built in secret facilities beneath the lunar surface. These vessels incorporated both human innovation and reversed-engineered Imperial technology. They were smaller than Imperial ships, but far more maneuverable and adaptable. "The Empire thinks size equals power," Captain Mike told the new fleet crews. "We'll show them that intelligence and creativity matter more than brute force." Around Earth, a network of defensive satellites took position. These weren't the simple weapons platforms the Empire would expect. They contained Dr. Allen's new shield technology and quantum communication systems that the Empire couldn't detect or decrypt. The Earth Council also established the Freedom Protocol, a comprehensive plan to protect human civilization. Underground cities were constructed, food and resource stockpiles were hidden, and backup communications networks were established throughout the solar system. But perhaps most importantly, Earth began reaching out to resistance movements on other worlds. Using the Empire's own communication channels, they sent encrypted messages of support and technical data to help other civilizations protect themselves. "We're not just fighting for Earth," Director Linda told the Council. "We're fighting for every world that's suffered under Imperial rule. It's time someone showed the galaxy that the Empire isn't invincible." The Empire's initial response to the ban was to ignore it. They continued their operations in nearby systems, expecting Earth to back down when they realized the futility of their position. They didn't understand that humanity had spent its entire history facing seemingly impossible odds. As news of Earth's defiance spread through Imperial space, something unexpected happened. Other worlds began to watch Earth closely. Secret resistance movements saw hope for the first time in generations. The Empire's iron grip on information began to slip as stories of Earth's preparations spread through underground networks. Admiral James stood on the lunar observation deck, watching Earth shine against the black of space. "They think we're just another primitive world," he said to Captain Mike. "They don't understand what they're dealing with. Humanity doesn't bow to tyrants. We never have, and we never will." The stage was set. Earth had made its declaration, and now they waited for the Empire's true response. But this time, humanity wasn't waiting in fear. They were ready for whatever came next. The Empire was about to learn a harsh lesson. Never underestimate the species that had gone from stone tools to space travel in the blink of cosmic time. The Imperial response came 3 months after Earth's declaration. Long-range sensors detected a fleet of 50 Imperial warships emerging from hyperspace at the edge of the Kuiper Belt. Their formation was a standard Imperial intimidation pattern: massive dreadnoughts surrounded by smaller battlecruisers. Admiral James stood in Earth Defense Force headquarters, watching the tactical display with calm determination. "Right on schedule," he said. "They always start with a show of force." The Imperial Commander's transmission came through on all frequencies. "This is High Commander Paul of the Imperial Fleet. Your foolish ban is hereby rejected. Submit to Imperial authority immediately, or face the consequences." Instead of panic, the Earth's response was calculated and ready. Director Linda activated the quantum interference grid, immediately disrupting the Imperial fleet's internal communications. Their perfectly coordinated formation began to waver as ships lost contact with each other. "Launch Defense Protocol Alpha," Admiral James ordered. The first wave of Earth's new ships rose from hidden bases on the Moon and Mars. They were smaller than Imperial vessels, but incorporated the latest hybrid technology, a combination of human ingenuity and reversed-engineered Imperial systems. The Imperial fleet pressed forward, likely expecting token resistance. What they encountered instead was beyond their comprehension. The supposedly primitive human ships moved with incredible agility, their advanced shields absorbing and redirecting Imperial energy weapons. "They're using the same attack patterns from their tactical database," Captain Mike reported from the lead Earth vessel. "Just like we expected. No adaptation, no creativity." The battle that followed would be remembered throughout the galaxy. Earth's ships executed complex maneuvers that the rigid Imperial formation couldn't counter. Dr. Allen's shield technology proved devastating. Each Imperial blast was caught and redirected, turning the Empire's own weapons against them. High Commander Paul's voice crackled through the communication channels, now tinged with disbelief. "This is impossible. You're using technology you shouldn't have access to." "No," Admiral James responded calmly. "We're using technology we improved. Something your Empire forgot how to do centuries ago." The Imperial fleet's formation broke completely when Earth unveiled its secret weapon: quantum-linked fighter squadrons that could coordinate faster than Imperial ships could track. These small, agile craft slipped through the gaps in Imperial defenses, targeting crucial systems with surgical precision. 3 Imperial dreadnoughts exploded in quick succession, their rigid defense systems unable to handle multiple attacks from unexpected angles. The remaining Imperial ships began to retreat, their carefully planned attack turning into a chaotic rout. "Should we pursue?" Captain Mike asked, as the Imperial fleet fled toward the Kuiper Belt. "No," Admiral James replied. "Let them go. Let them report what happened here. The galaxy needs to know that the Empire isn't invincible." The battle lasted less than 2 hours, but its impact would echo across the galaxy. Earth had not only survived its first major engagement with the Empire, it had won decisively. 7 Imperial ships had been destroyed, 15 more severely damaged, and not a single human vessel had been lost. In the aftermath, Earth's scientists analyzed the battle data, already looking for ways to improve their systems. Unlike the Empire, they understood that technology had to evolve constantly to remain effective. "Look at these readings," Dr. Allen said, reviewing the shield performance. "We can make them even more efficient. The Empire's weapons are powerful but predictable. Each blast gives us more data to work with." News of the battle spread quickly through the underground networks Earth had established with resistance movements on other worlds. The Empire tried to suppress the information, but they couldn't stop the truth. A primitive world had stood up to an Imperial fleet and won. Director Linda's intelligence networks reported increasing unrest throughout Imperial space. Other subjugated worlds began quietly reaching out to Earth, seeking information about their defensive technologies and tactics. This was just the beginning. Admiral James told the Earth Council during the post-battle briefing, "The Empire won't take this humiliation lightly. They'll be back with a larger force, but now they know we're not helpless. More importantly, the rest of the galaxy knows it too." As Earth celebrated its victory, its leaders knew the real war was just beginning. But they had proven something crucial. Humanity's greatest strength wasn't its technology or weapons, but its ability to adapt and innovate. The Empire had awakened a force it didn't understand, and now it would face the consequences of its arrogance. In the wake of Earth's victory, the galaxy began to change. Deep within Imperial territory, resistance movements that had long operated in shadows found new hope. The Earth Defense Force began receiving encrypted messages from dozens of conquered worlds, each seeking guidance and support. Director Linda established a secret facility beneath the Antarctic ice, codenamed Haven, to coordinate with these resistance groups. Teams of Earth's best communication experts worked around the clock, using quantum channels to evade Imperial detection. "We've received another transmission from the mining worlds," an operator reported. "Their workers are ready to act, but they need weapons that can bypass Imperial scanners." Earth's scientists had already developed solutions. Using the Empire's own supply ships as cover, they smuggled specially designed weapons throughout Imperial space. These devices appeared as simple mining tools to Imperial scanners, but could be quickly converted into effective weapons. Admiral James oversaw the training program. Through secure quantum links, Earth's military experts taught resistance fighters how to challenge Imperial control. "Don't try to match their strength," he instructed. "Use their size and rigidity against them. Strike fast, then disappear." The Empire's response to these growing rebellions was predictable. They increased security and cracked down harder on their subject worlds. But their actions only fueled more resistance. Every show of force drove more people to join the underground movement. "Look at this," Captain Mike said, pointing to reports from the outer colonies. 3 Imperial supply convoys disappeared last week. The resistance is getting stronger. Earth's technology began spreading through hidden networks. Dr. Allen's shield designs, simplified for easy reproduction, allowed resistance ships to survive encounters with Imperial patrols. The Empire's once invincible warships found themselves increasingly frustrated by enemies they couldn't catch or track. The Empire's greatest weakness, its own arrogance, worked against them. They couldn't believe that primitive races could develop technology to challenge them. When their ships were defeated by inferior forces, they blamed sabotage or malfunction, rather than accepting that their enemies had simply outsmarted them. Director Linda's network grew larger each day. "Every world has its own resistance now," she reported to the Earth Council. "They're sharing information, coordinating attacks. The Empire's grip is weakening." One of the most successful operations targeted the Empire's resource transport system. Resistance forces began hitting supply lines, using Earth-designed weapons to disable ships without destroying them. The captured resources were redistributed to worlds suffering under Imperial control. The Empire thought size and power were everything. Admiral James told his officers. They forgot that great empires can be brought down by 1,000 small cuts. Earth's scientists continued to innovate, developing new technologies specifically for resistance forces. They created communication devices disguised as Imperial equipment, weapons that could be assembled from common mining tools, and shields that could be powered by standard power cells. The resistance movements learned quickly. Some worlds specialized in smuggling supplies, others in gathering intelligence. A few focused on sabotage, disrupting Imperial operations from within. Earth coordinated it all through Haven, ensuring each group supported the others effectively. Captain Mike led a special task force that made contact with Imperial military officers who questioned their loyalty. "Not all of them believe in the Empire's methods," he reported. "Some are willing to help us, especially after seeing how their leaders responded to Earth's victory." The Empire's response revealed their growing desperation. They increased patrols, tightened security, and imposed harsher restrictions on their subject worlds. But their efforts came too late. The seeds of rebellion had already taken root throughout their territory. "They still don't understand what they're fighting," Director Linda observed. "They think they can stop this with brute force. But ideas are harder to kill than ships." Earth's success had shown the galaxy something crucial. The Empire wasn't invincible. Every successful resistance operation, every escaped slave, every disrupted supply line proved it. The myth of Imperial invincibility was crumbling. As the underground resistance grew stronger, the Empire faced a terrible realization. They weren't just fighting Earth anymore. They were fighting an idea. The idea that freedom was possible, that resistance wasn't futile, that even the mightiest empire could be challenged. And ideas, once planted, were impossible to contain. Long-range sensors lit up across the solar system as over 300 Imperial warships emerged from hyperspace. The massive fleet stretched from Jupiter to Saturn, their formation blocking out the stars behind them. This wasn't just a show of force. It was the Empire's full might, brought to bear against the world that dared to defy them. Admiral James stood in the command center, his face illuminated by the tactical displays. "They've committed their main battle fleet," he noted calmly, "just as our intelligence suggested they would." The Imperial transmission came through, carried on all frequencies. "This is Grand Admiral Marcus of the Imperial Armada. Your rebellion ends today. Surrender now, or we will reduce your world to ash." Earth's response was silence. As the Imperial fleet advanced, they encountered no resistance, no defensive positions, nothing to suggest Earth was even aware of their presence. "They think we're cowering," Captain Mike said from his position near Mars. "Let them come closer." The Imperial fleet moved deeper into the solar system, their massive ships arranged in traditional attack formations. They passed Jupiter without incident, then Saturn, growing more cautious with each unopposed advance. When they reached the asteroid belt, Earth sprang its trap. Thousands of asteroids suddenly revealed themselves as disguised weapon platforms. Dr. Allen's latest shield technology activated, creating a massive energy web that trapped the Imperial fleet in a giant containment field. "All ships, execute Operation Thunderstrike," Admiral James commanded. Earth's defenders emerged from hidden positions throughout the solar system. Unlike the previous battle, these weren't just ships. They were automated drone swarms, quantum-linked fighters, and new vessels, incorporating technology that didn't exist 6 months ago. The Empire's front line crumbled under the first assault. Their rigid formations, designed to intimidate through size and power, became a liability. Earth's smaller, more agile ships slipped between the massive Imperial vessels, targeting weak points that resistance spies had identified. Grand Admiral Marcus's voice crackled with rage. "Impossible. Your weapons, your shields. How dare you use Imperial technology against us?" "This isn't your technology anymore," Admiral James responded. "We've moved beyond your centuries-old designs. You should have kept innovating instead of relying on fear." The battle split into dozens of smaller engagements. Imperial ships found their energy weapons reflected back at them, their communications jammed by quantum interference, their targeting systems confused by drone swarms that moved faster than their computers could track. Dr. Allen's latest innovation proved devastating. A field generator that disrupted the Imperial ship's artificial gravity. Massive dreadnoughts spun out of control as their crews floated helplessly inside, unable to reach their control stations. Their entire command structure is compromised. Director Linda reported from Haven. The resistance networks are broadcasting the battle across Imperial space. Everyone is watching Earth fight back. The Empire's advantages, their size, their power, their fearsome reputation, meant nothing against Earth's preparation and innovation. Their ships were too big to maneuver effectively, their crews too dependent on automated systems that Earth had learned to disable. The battle reached its climax when Earth unveiled its masterstroke. Hidden fabrication ships emerged from camouflaged positions in the asteroid belt, using advanced manufacturing technology to turn destroyed Imperial ships into new weapons in real time. They're watching their own destroyed ships turn against them, Captain Mike observed. That's got to hurt their morale. The Imperial fleet began to break apart. Some ships attempted to retreat, others fought on with desperate fury, but the outcome was already decided. Earth's defenders had turned the solar system itself into a weapon, using gravity, radiation, and space debris as effectively as their advanced technology. Grand Admiral Marcus made one final transmission before his flagship was disabled. "You don't understand what you've done. The Empire will never stop until..." The transmission cut off as his ship's systems failed, another victim of Earth's superior technology. As the battle wound down, Admiral James addressed all Earth forces. "This isn't just our victory. This is a victory for every world that's suffered under Imperial rule. Today, we've proved that the Empire can be beaten. Their power isn't absolute. Their technology isn't superior. Their rule isn't inevitable." The aftermath of the battle would echo across the galaxy. The Empire's main fleet was in ruins, their best admiral captured, their aura of invincibility shattered forever. Earth had done more than win a battle. It had changed the galaxy's future. 1 year after the Great Battle in the Solar System, representatives from 50 formerly Imperial worlds gathered in the Geneva Global Unity Center. Earth, once considered a primitive backwater, had become the center of a revolution that transformed the galaxy. Admiral James stood before the assembled delegates, his uniform now bearing the symbol of the newly formed Free Worlds Alliance. "The Empire's grip on power is broken," he announced. "Their fleets are scattered, their control systems dismantled. A new age has begun." Reports flowed in from across the galaxy. Imperial governors were surrendering to local resistance forces. Freed worlds were establishing their own governments, supported by Earth's technology and expertise. The Empire's mighty war machine had collapsed from within. Director Linda presented evidence of the Empire's final decline. "Their remaining forces are retreating to their core worlds," she explained. "They've lost control of their supply lines, their communication networks, and most importantly, their fear-based authority." Earth had become more than just a symbol of resistance. It was now a beacon of innovation and progress. Dr. Allen's research facility had grown into a galactic center of learning, where scientists from hundreds of worlds shared knowledge and developed new technologies. "The Empire stopped advancing centuries ago," Dr. Allen told a group of alien researchers. "They thought they had reached the peak of development. We've proven that there's always room for growth, always new discoveries to make." Captain Mike, now commander of the Alliance fleet, oversaw the transformation of former Imperial warships. "We're not building weapons of fear anymore," he explained to his diverse crew. "These ships will protect freedom of trade and exploration." The Free Worlds Alliance operated differently from the Empire. Each member world maintained its independence while contributing to mutual defense and development. Earth shared its technology freely, but encouraged each civilization to adapt and improve it in their own way. "Unity through diversity" became the Alliance's unofficial motto. Unlike the Empire's forced conformity, the Alliance celebrated the unique contributions of each world and species. Former Imperial citizens, freed from generations of oppression, rediscovered their own cultural heritage. Ancient traditions and knowledge, suppressed by the Empire, flourished once again. Earth helped preserve these recoveries, establishing vast databases to protect the galaxy's cultural wealth. "Look at this," Director Linda said during an Alliance Council meeting, displaying images from across known space. New trade routes, cultural exchanges, scientific collaborations. The galaxy is healing itself. The Empire's remnants made one final attempt to maintain control over their core worlds. They threatened to destroy their own infrastructure rather than let it fall into Alliance hands. The response came not from Earth, but from their own people. Imperial citizens, inspired by Earth's example, rose up against their leaders. The revolution that began in space concluded in the streets of imperial cities. The Empire's ruling class, faced with total rebellion, finally surrendered. Admiral James stood on the observation deck of the Alliance's new headquarters station, watching ships from hundreds of worlds pass through the trading lanes. "We didn't just defeat the Empire," he told Captain Mike. "We replaced it with something better." The Alliance faced challenges, of course. Some worlds struggled with their newfound freedom. Others faced environmental crises left by imperial exploitation. But unlike the Empire, the Alliance faced these problems together, sharing resources and knowledge to find solutions. Dr. Allen's team developed technologies to heal damaged planets. Former imperial factory worlds were transformed into garden worlds. Polluted atmospheres were cleaned, dead oceans revived, and devastated ecosystems restored. "This is what the Empire never understood," Director Linda told the Alliance Council. "Real power doesn't come from forcing others to submit. It comes from helping each other grow stronger." As the first year of freedom drew to a close, Earth had changed too. No longer an isolated world, it had become part of a greater galactic community. Human innovation combined with alien wisdom created possibilities the Empire never imagined. The final act of transformation came when the Alliance converted the Empire's massive palace into a university. Where imperial lords once plotted conquest, students from across the galaxy now studied together, sharing knowledge and building a better future. Admiral James, watching the sun set over this new galaxy, smiled. "We didn't just ban an empire," he said. "We replaced fear with hope, control with freedom, and stagnation with growth." And it all began because one primitive world dared to say no to an empire.